It's in every one of us to be kind. Find your heart, open up all your mind. We can all have everything without ever asking how. It's in every one of us here and now. It's in every one of us to be free. Find your heart, open your eyes and see. We can all know everything without ever asking how. It's in every one of us here and now. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Temple on the Plaza, where diversity is praised and peace and harmony are the rewards. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. And if you're returning, it's always great to see you. I want to remind you all that after service today, we've got great social time downstairs with coffee and great conversation. So I want to welcome you all to join us down there after service. We have a couple of announcements this morning. The first one, Aaron, if you'd like to come up.
Good morning. Good morning. My name's Erin Keller. I'm the church choir director here at Unity Temple on the Plaza. And I have the absolute fortune to announce the concert that's happening next weekend on February 25th at 2 o'clock after service on Sunday. And it's a gospel celebration. We are celebrating Black Excellence and Black History Month, and we are the proceeds for the concert are going to Golden Spirit and Unity Temple on the Plaza. Golden Spirit Children's Choirs is my nonprofit, and it's a program that has yet to be piloted in a school, but hopefully it will be piloted this fall. And the curriculum is very innovative. It includes social emotional learning objectives along with music learning objectives and a poetry, reading, writing, and speaking curriculum. It's a very powerful curriculum that I think could change the lives of thousands of kids in our city for the better. And if my program is given a chance, if it gets the funding that it needs, then we can make a big difference here in Kansas City. So please come support that and support Black History Month and support Unity Temple on the Plaza and see Jerome Johnson, soloist. Millie Edwards will be a soloist. Lori Tucker will be a soloist. I will be a soloist. Risa Johnson and Hayden Smith will also be soloists. And enjoy an amazing concert that always brings people to tears and to laughter. It's so meaningful and moving. You really don't want to miss it. So please come to our concert next Sunday, February 25th at 2 o'clock, the Gospel Celebration. Thank you.
Aaron, before you sit down, I've got a question for you. You just had an album come out recently, correct? Do you want to come up and say something about that? Something that I believe very strongly in is celebrate successes in your life in different ways. And so Erin, as beautiful as she is and what she does for the temple, I want to always give her lots of recognition for that, but she also had a major accomplishment here recently that I want her to share with you.
Thank you. Yes. I write my own music, and I recently put out an album called Songs for Times Like These. And it features kind of groovy, funky songs that I wrote that are about our world, the state that it is in today, and how we can work together and come together as one in humanity to work through it. And it's a passion project of mine. It took a lot of work, and I worked with a really beautiful family, the James Ward Band. James plays bass, his wife Angela plays keyboard, and their son Jalen plays drums. And I just get to sit in the beautiful musical pocket that they create. And I just had a lot of fun recording the album. So if you'd like to listen to it, I always have copies on me usually. And also, if you have a CD player, no one has a CD player anymore. But you can also listen to it online. It's available on iTunes. It's available on Spotify, on Amazon Music, all of the resources that people use to get their music nowadays, it's there. So look up my name, Aaron Keller, and look up Songs for Times Like These. Thank you.
For other things coming up here at the temple, you can always check the website, which is unitytemple.com. And we will now begin our service with the temple chimes, the opening prayer, and the call to inspiration. You'll find the words on the screen. On this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of unity with all people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation, in harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature. We live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
If you abide in me, then my words will abide in you. Then you shall ask what you will, and it shall be given. If you abide in me, then my words will abide in you. Then you shall ask what you will, and it shall be given to you. Our congregational song we're singing this morning is Weave. You'll find the words on the bulletin. Please stand if you can and join in with us, please. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other, but we are entwined with knows what tomorrow brings. In a world that two hearts survive, and all I know is the way I feel, and when it's real, I keep it alive. The road is long, there are mountains in our own way, but we climb the steps every day. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagle flies on a mountain high. Love lifts us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow. Yeah. Some hang on to what used to be, live their lives looking behind, and all we have is here and now, and all of our lives out there to find. Now the road is long, there are mountains in our own way, but we climb the steps every day. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagles fly on a mountain high. Yes, love lifts us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear winds blow. Time goes by and no time to cry. Life's you and I alive today. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagles fly on a mountain high. Love lifts us up where we belong, far from the world we know, where the clear wind blows. Love lifts us up where we belong, where the eagle flies on a mountain high. Yes, oh yes.
You know, whenever I speak here at Unity Temple on the Plaza, and I cross paths with Jerome before the service begins, he always says to me that he's honored or he's grateful to be able to support my ministry. I just want you to know that I am honored and grateful to support your ministry as well. And it is a ministry, my friend. Thank you, Robert. Yeah. What a week. Thoughts and prayers. In some circles that I find myself communicating in, I see that people seem to sort of be discounting the value of thoughts and prayers. And maybe it's not really a discount. They're just saying, or they're observing how easy it is to just say, my thoughts and prayers are with you, and call it a day, and not do anything more than that. Well, for me, thoughts and prayers are pivotal, and they're critical. If our thoughts are not aligned with the divine, as we like to say sometimes in unity, it's going to impact our prayers. But thought and prayer is so important. It doesn't replace action, but it is, to me, a preliminary step. They are preliminary steps toward being able to take effective action. And I hope that I can expound upon that just a little bit this morning. But before I get into the message, I think it's important that we do take time for thoughts and prayers, because there's a lot to be thoughtful about and there's a lot to be prayerful for, of course, in our world and on the planet right now, but specifically in our city. So I'm going to ask that we take a moment of silence in just a few moments here and remember Lisa Lopez Galvin and her family, the 22 other victims and their families, everyone that was in attendance on Wednesday, our city, our beloved city, and our beautiful city of Kansas City. And let's be inclusive here and include those two individuals who are suspects now, charged and so forth, and hold them in our prayers and in our thoughts. And then we'll talk in a little bit about how we can move that into, I believe, highly efficient and effective action. But right now, let's just take a moment and do, friends, what we really do best in unity, I believe. And that is to bring our thoughts to the highest possible level that we can. And that's a level of peace and comfort and love and compassion and understanding and truth. And allow that to become a prayer, an extension of our energy to these individuals and to our city. And no need to stop there. Let's move it on. Beyond Missouri, beyond the United States, into the world. And do not underestimate the power of that activity in itself in the world beyond words, which is silence. Knowing that as we have attuned ourselves to the divine that indwells us, we are ready to move forth into our lives and into the world as agents of pure goodness, pure light, and pure love. And so it is. Amen. Wednesday morning of this last week, I woke up, and interestingly, I was sitting at my desk in my little apartment in Lee Summit, working on the comments that I wanted to share with you this morning. And I knew that the subject of what I wanted to share was going to be on emotions. What I did not know is that even as I was sitting there at my computer composing this talk, I was on the verge of experiencing one of the largest spectrums of emotionality that I've ever experienced. Because I, like probably most of you, felt alive and thrilled and grateful to be in this great city and to have the great team that we had and do so wonderfully well last week. By the way, don't underestimate your contribution to that when we all stood up here and affirmed "Go Chiefs," okay? Because it does make a difference. But I went from this summit of ecstasy, you could say, and thrill and excitement in a matter of seconds all the way through the emotional spectrum down to what I would say was a sense of desperation and immense sadness, combined with a little bit of anger and frustration, thinking, how much longer is this going to be able to go on? And I knew that the subject of what I wanted to share with you this morning and the event that took place on Wednesday were synchronized, as is everything in life, by some higher dimension, higher force. We call it God, we call it the divine, we call it the spark of divinity within us. I knew that. So this morning, though much of what I'm going to share with you was actually sort of put to the pen before Wednesday, I want to share it in light of what we all went through together as a family. And the premise was that what I want to share with you, and still is this morning, one that can be difficult in moments of despair. And I realize that. It can be difficult in moments of anger and frustration. It was difficult for me on Wednesday. But it was to remember that we are always free to decide how we want to feel in any moment. We're always free to make that decision. What we feel by choice. And the reason for this is because we are free to decide what we want to think about anything. We're free, in fact we are, I believe in every moment, continually composing the story out of which we live our lives. So that especially rang for me when I thought, what story do I want to set around what happened on Wednesday? And here's the clincher, it's that externals do not have the power to dictate how I feel. They never do, although it may seem that way, and I understand that. I'm going to move back to the 5 basic principles. I'm not Sandra Campbell, obviously, but I know that Sandra delivers to you the 5 essential unity principles, I believe, every time she speaks here. And so I wanted to focus on unity principle number 3. And it reads as follows. Human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. And this is essentially just letting us know, reminding us that thoughts create our experience of reality. Feelings, and I know there are different schools of thought around this, so I'm not asking you to agree with me. I never want to require you to agree with anything I say, but I believe that feelings are the result of thoughts. Thoughts come first and then feelings follow because our feelings are based on what we're thinking. They're coming out of what we're thinking, the story that we're delivering to ourselves. And our feelings can really help us become more keenly aware of our thoughts. In fact, they're excellent barometers. If we look at how we're feeling, we can be pretty certain that it's aligned with whatever we're thinking. And this can allow our feelings, our emotions, to support us in recognizing what we're thinking because, so often we go through the day, we can go through our lives not really fully conscious of what we are thinking, the thoughts we're allowing to occupy space. And that's an important piece there because those thoughts are creating not our ultimate reality, but our experience of reality. The ultimate reality, I believe, is that there's one presence, there's one power, it's God, it's good, it's all-encompassing. But that's not my experience from day to day. I know it's probably your experience every day. Nothing here but one presence and one power. It's God and it's good. But I go in and out of that from time to time. So my feelings help me to become aware of thoughts I'm thinking that I might not even be aware that I'm thinking. If you change your thoughts, I believe you can change your feelings. And the way to do this is simply to become more aware of the emotion, the feeling, and then learn to trace it to the thought. And remember, you're not doing this alone. You're going to get a lot of support in this because you do have a higher nature, an authentic nature within you that is here to support you. And it will support you in helping to guide you into what the feeling is reflecting in terms of your thoughts. And you can then make the decision to think a more uplifting or supporting thought. If the thought is bringing you down, remember, you're free to choose your emotions, your feelings, and you're free to choose your thoughts. You can train yourself in this, and it takes time. It's a practice, as we like to say. But as you train yourself, you become more proficient at the art of this. You begin to realize that the thoughts that you are thinking are producing corresponding feelings in your life. Better feeling thoughts are going to create better feeling emotions and a better feeling experience in your life. Part of the reason why I believe, I'll just say this for myself, part of the reason it's been difficult for me is because the time I was just a little toddler, I remember, not just through parental authorities, but all around me, voices saying to repress my emotionality, to buck up, to be strong, to get over it. And I was also taught that emotion, or the demonstration of emotion, is a sign of weakness. There are many things I have gleaned through my study in truth, but that is one of the most liberating ones. To realize that emotions and the expression of emotion, any emotion, is anything but a sign of weakness. That true vulnerability and authentic expression of feelings is rare indeed, and it is a sign, I believe, not of weakness, but of great strength. Remember that song years ago by Melissa Manchester when she said, "Don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings." And I don't want to be judgmental here, but I think this is all part of a plot. It's all part of a plot. Because if we really allowed ourselves to be emotional beings, we would realize our power. When we repress them, they are allowed to fester and do work behind the scenes that we might not even be very aware of. So to allow this to come forth and to be expressed in our lives is anything but weakness. It's strength, I have found. And even in those moments when I am most hesitant to express myself honestly and emotionally, especially if it's not being a good Unity student, being a good Unity minister, there may be other things going on in there. Express it appropriately, and express it in the right company, which often for me is by myself. But it's a solitude, but it's an exploration. It's like, okay, I'm feeling this. I don't want to feel this. It's not comfortable. I've been conditioned. I've been trained to repress it, and that is my natural reaction or response, as opposed to, I'm just going to take a moment here and see if I can really embrace this feeling and realize that all of my emotions are my friends, whether I can realize that or not. And I don't want to turn them away at the door. I want to invite them in, because I really believe that until we do that, we're not able to befriend, and we're not able to manage our emotionality very effectively in this life. Nobody, however, ever for a moment taught me the value of my emotions. I had to learn it in the school of hard knocks, in the school of life. I've shared with you before that the 1990s were not my best years. It was, for me, what I call the decade of difficulty, because there was a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of things falling apart, and a lot of dreams and visions that I had aspired to achieve in my life, some of which I had achieved. But at the same time, during the 90s, I felt in many ways as though, for a number of different life reasons, the rug was being pulled out from under me through a lot of that. And so I say it was the decade of difficulty, the most difficult decade of my life. But also, I have to tell you, it was unquestionably the most transformative decade of my life. I came face to face with dimensions, aspects, realities within myself that I never wanted to accept. I had refused and refused and refused, and it was just time. You know, if you refuse long enough, the knock at the door is going to become loud enough. And it'll often show up in terms of the appearance that your life is falling apart, or things are certainly not, at least not going your way. But I began to see that as I carefully started to examine these emotions, and it wasn't easy to do that, the transformation began to occur as I realized that every one of these emotions always had a gift for me. Now, to accomplish this, I spent a lot of the 1990s in therapy. And I don't mind saying, because I was the perfect Unity minister, what the heck do I need to be sitting in a therapist's office for? But it was just the time, and I thank God that that help was available. After the first visit, my therapist told me, "Chris, I need for you to know that you are emotionally unavailable." And I got super defensive. I'm not emotional. I'm one of the most emotional men I know. I've always been expressing my emotions. No, you're emotionally unavailable. And he said, the first thing I want you to do is participate in a group therapy program. And I was so resistant. I still remember walking up to the building over at Centerpoint in Kansas City, and boy, I did not want to go in there for this experience, because I knew it was going to be with a group. And you know, I'm a perfect person, so I don't want to expose. I don't want to be vulnerable here and let anybody see the real me, because I was going through a lot of internal stuff. But I went on up, and I went into the room, and everybody was seated in a circle around a big pile of. Remember when we used to have those really big pillows? And so these were really big pillows, and they were stacked up in the middle of the circle. And then in each of the four corners of the room, there was a baseball bat. And the therapist invited anyone who wanted to come forward and take a baseball bat in their hands and just start beating on the pillows. And a few individuals that were present did this, and I watched while this transformation occurred, as I thought, well, they certainly are emotionally out of control, because see, they walk over there and they start beating on those pillows, and the next thing you know, profanity is coming out of their mouths, and they're angry at their grandmother, and they're cussing at their father, and they're upset with their mother, and they don't like anybody. And they're crying, and it's miserable, you know. And I knew that my turn was coming, and so I walked up and I thought, well, I'm going to be different here, you know, because I don't really have any stuff that I need to deal with. So, all right, hit the bat. Therapist says, do it again. Hit the bat. Therapist says, do it again. Hit the bat. Think about something that is making you angry right now. Well, I don't want to think about anything that's making me angry, because if I think about stuff that's making me angry, I'm going to get angrier. Not realizing that what he was trying to do was open up a portal through which some of my raw emotions could come forward. And let me tell you, within a matter of minutes, I was right there with the rest of them, just beating the hell out of those pillows, calling people names, all this unprocessed negative emotion just racing and roaring up out of me. And it totally blew me away. When we finished that session, the therapist gave me a stack of cards, and you can get these on Amazon, I think. They're called emotion cards. I don't know if you're familiar with this. But the idea is that on every one of the cards, there's a different emotion. And it's designed to help you get in touch with your emotions. So you wake up in the morning and you go through this deck and you decide what emotion is being housed inside of you. So it's like anger, happiness, joy, resentment, whatever it might be. Such a helpful tool to me. I mean, that decade was transformational. It allowed me to get in touch not just with the more positive aspects that I was familiar with, but with all kinds of stuff that was hidden beneath the levels of my unconscious mind. Abraham Hicks. I've asked you before. Abraham Hicks fans, you know who Abraham Hicks is? Wonderful spiritual teacher, in my opinion. And these are Abraham Hicks' words. The way you feel is a clear and accurate indication of your alignment or misalignment with your source energy. In other words, your emotions let you know if you are allowing or if you are in a current state of resistance to your connection with source, your connection with God, your connection with your authentic nature, your connection with the truth of who you really are. So it opens up a world where not only do I not want to avoid my emotions, I want to completely embrace them to the best of my ability and ask them, what do you have to show me? What do you have to teach me? How can you help me? How can I befriend you? Emotions are highly sophisticated, absolute indicators of thought content. And the degree of your alignment with your authentic nature will always be revealed by what you feel. Wonderful tools, feelings and emotions are wonderful tools for you and I to continue in our awakening spiritually. Your thoughts are always coming from one of two places, and thus your feelings are always coming from one of two places. It's pretty simple. They're either coming from a place of love or they're coming from a place of fear. Now, there's a lot of different words we attach to love and attach to fear, but at the end of the day, you're on one end of the spectrum or you're on the other. Positive thought is always aligned with the truth of your being, with the Christ nature that you are, with your authentic nature. And positive thought is always going to bring you positive emotion. Negative thought is aligned with inauthentic nature or your egoic nature, the self or the identity you've given yourself that you've made up for yourself. And negative thought always equals negative emotion. When your thoughts are aligned, therefore, with your authentic nature, you're going to feel joyous, you're going to feel powerful, you feel like you take on the world, anything is possible. When your thoughts are aligned with your inauthentic nature, your egoic nature, you feel afraid, you feel helpless, depressed, and hopeless. So you see, whatever you're feeling is going to tell you right away which end of that spectrum you're on. And the most powerful action any individual can take, and the most powerful life I believe that anyone can ever live, is the life that is aligned with the divine, that is aligned with the truth of your being, and not with the lies or the misperceptions or the mistakes that you may have taken into this inauthentic nature or this egoic understanding of who you believe yourself to be. My dear friend, best friend in West Palm Beach, Florida, Kevin Rice, also a master with the Course in Miracles, always says this: there's two voices and there's two choices, and that's it. Which one do you want to align yourself with? Now, on the subject of Abraham Hicks, there's a tool. It's a little bit like the emotion flashcards that I was telling you about my therapist gave me. You can find this, you can Google it, just put in emotional guidance scale, or you could put in Abraham Hicks, but you'll get a hold of this information that I'm going to share with you. It's been very helpful for me as a check-in point regarding my emotionality. It starts at the top with joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation, moves down through enthusiasm, positive expectation, optimism, hopefulness, contentment, and then there's sort of a dividing line there where the scales chip a little bit. We're kind of going from authentic nature now into inauthentic nature, and that, and the feelings and the thoughts that are associated with it, results in a sense of pessimism, frustration, overwhelmment, disappointment, doubt, worry, blame, anger, revenge. It gets even more intense as we go deeper: hatred, rage, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness, fear, grief, depression, powerlessness, and victimization. Now, the motion in emotion for me is the ability to realize we have the capacity to consciously and intentionally move ourselves up that scale or down that scale. And it doesn't mean that we're going to go from depression, fear, grief, and powerlessness to joy and ecstasy just like that. What it does mean is that we can gradually step up this emotional scale. We can move from fear to maybe insecurity, and then from insecurity to jealousy, maybe from jealousy to anger, whatever it might be. But take little steps, whatever we can, to move ourselves up. And as we do this, redefine our story of the experience that may be bringing us down. And that's really what I wanted to share with you this morning about what happened on Wednesday. I'm not in any way discounting the pain, the grief, the sorrow, the sadness, the anger, the frustration that all of us may have felt on that day. I am saying that if there's a responsibility that any of us has, that I have, toward making this world a better place, it is to get myself up as high as I can, to be willing to allow the Christ nature, the highest within me, to redefine the storyline of what is happening. And as I do that, my emotions begin to shift and change too. Why do I want to do this? Not just to make myself feel better. It's because I want to be a powerful agent in this world, my friends, and I believe you do too, or you wouldn't be sitting in this room. You want to be a powerful agent to ensure that what happened on Wednesday can never happen again. And you and I are the ones who are going to make that difference, and we're not going to be able to do that if we're groveling down here in the pain of the negative emotionality of it. We've got to work ourselves up to get to a level where whatever we are bringing to the party of life is going to come from that upper end of the emotional scale. Because when we're in that upper end of the emotional scale, we're aligned with the divine, and there is, as I've said before, nothing more powerful on this planet than an individual who has aligned themselves with the highest and best in them, regardless of what is happening out here in the world. It doesn't mean that you're ignorant of it. It means that you're allowing the activities in the world outside of you to make you aware of what's going on inside of you, and then you recognize your ability to make a different choice, to lift up your emotions, to lift up your thoughts. And when you move out into the world, my friends, and I really believe if it were just us in this room this morning, if we really got this, if I really get it, and I'm trying to bring the highest and most powerful action into the world, action that is inspired by the divine, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. And it's not anybody else's responsibility. It's not for us to blame anybody, including ourselves. It's just for us to wake up and realize I'm on this planet and I'm sitting here at Unity Temple on the Plaza where I'm receiving a liberating truth, not from me, but from something inside of you, because I believe this is the moment, and you are the one who can make the difference that the world needs right now. If us, all of us, one at a time, begin to invest ourselves in doing the work of honestly embracing our emotions in every moment, and honestly recognizing we have the ability to lift them up through the power. Again, remember, you're not doing this alone. There's a spirit within you that's supporting you all the way to allow you to become not somebody who talks or sings or just thinks about being the Christ presence in the world. You are it. God bless you.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Bring a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Breathe into this moment. Relax your eyes, relax your gaze. Breathe in and allow yourself to feel. Feel the chair under yourself. Allow yourself to feel the air on your skin. Allow yourself to feel the peace in your life. Allow yourself to feel the pain. Know everything's available to you in each moment. In each breath, allow yourself to be, to feel, to allow, and to release. Allow yourself to fully be in this moment. Breathe into the loving awareness that you are as we move into this moment of stillness. Slowly bring your awareness back into this moment. And as your focus returns back to normal, remember that every moment there are choices to be made, and what our attitude will be and what we choose to focus on.
There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
Now we come to that special time in our service where we take our love offerings in our hands and in our hearts and hold them and say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And so it is.
Seems like all I could see was a struggle, haunted by ghosts that lived in my past, bound up in shackles of all my failures. Wondering how long is this gonna last? But then I heard you whisper and say to me, son, stop fighting a fight that's already been won. I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll take on these heavy chains and wipe away every stain, 'cause I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed. I'm redeemed, yeah. All my life I have been called unworthy, named by the voices of shame and regret. But then I heard you whisper, child, lift up your head. Stop fighting and fight. You're not never been done yet. And I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll take on these heavy chains and wipe away every stain, 'cause I'm not who I used to be. Because I don't have to be the old man inside of me, 'cause his days are long dead and gone. Because I've got a new name, a new life, I'm not the same, and the hope that will carry me on. I am redeemed, 'cause you set me free. So I'll take on these heavy chains and wipe away every stain, 'cause I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll take off these heavy chains and wipe away every stain. No, I'm not who I used to be. You know I'm not who I used to be. Jesus, I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed. God redeemed. Okay, we want to welcome our children in. Would you please stand? We are walking as the light. We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God. In the light of God, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God.
Good morning, children. Would you guys like to share what you learned today? Which one of you? Would you like to lead?
I'll say I am a mom, dad.
What did we do today?
We made these hearts.
Awesome. And what do those hearts represent?
Love.
That's a good value, isn't it?
What are we going to do with them?
Give them to our parents.
Well, that too.
That's awesome. Is there anything that you teachers would like to add?
Well, we're going to take them up to Bishop Spencer Place.
Awesome. And what is Bishop Spencer Place?
It's a retirement and rehabilitation place near here.
Aw, that's awesome. Are you guys excited about that? And you children want to know something really cool. Mother Teresa, do you guys know who Mother Teresa is? She is a woman who did a lot of really good works, and she said, find your own Calcutta. And what she was making reference to is that even those places like nursing homes have people who would love to just see some form of love and expression towards them. So what you guys are doing is very, very powerful. So thank you very, very much. Thank you all for joining us this beautiful, beautiful morning. We will now conclude this service with a prayer for protection and the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.